Welcome to Play by Players, an MLSPA podcast. This show is brought to you by the players and is all about the players, both past and present, who have plied their trade in MLS. Now here's your host, former MLS player, Bobby Boswell.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Play by Players podcast. It's been a little while. We're really excited today. We're joined by a guy that I think is an incredible player. He's got an incredible resume, and he's still pretty young, in my opinion. He's got a lot of good years ahead of him. He's played over 200 professional games, started when he was very young. He scored over 75 goals. His scoring goal ratio to games is one of the best, not only in MLS, but he averages a goal every 3 games. He's played in South America. He's played in Europe. He's played in North America. He's on the Chilean national team. He's in the mix. Please welcome to the podcast, Diego Rubio.
Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, that was a long resume. Thank you.
Oh, I talk a lot, but today it's more about you. And I mentioned you being a Chilean national team player. You were born in Santiago. Tell us a little bit about. There's a lot of people here that they know Chile is a long, beautiful country, but tell us what it's like, as a nation, and very proud people, and tell us about where you're from.
Yeah, well, Chile, Santiago, I think, like you say, it's a great country. We have different weather. It's kind of like here, but very, very like thin, but very long. But it's a nice country with nice people. When it comes to soccer, people kind of like change a little bit. They're very emotional. Like the majority of the South American are like that, But then it's a country that they try to work together, especially when we have some like problems over there. They try to be unified, and work together and try to solve the problems all together. So it's a nice country to live.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially Americans, are just getting into soccer. A lot of them in the prime was. You think about the new generation of fans, they're used to seeing Brazil, Argentina, but they don't realize, and they're realizing now that Chile is a really incredible country in terms of producing soccer talent. Talk to me a little bit about growing up. I know your father was a player for the country as well. We don't always see a lot of players whose parents or their dad was a professional end up becoming a professional. Your family is a little different. Tell us about growing up with a father playing professionally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the majority of the countries over there, I think every kid, and nowadays every girl over there wants to turn a soccer player. It's very popular. I'm not gonna say it, but kind of like is the sport that if you wanna, kind of like earn money and all this stuff, is the sport that is gonna take you from there like out. Nowadays is a lot of other sports, but soccer is the most popular. I mean, everybody knows about soccer. Everybody knows about players. If you are playing in a big team over there, like it's kind of like you cannot even go. If you lose a game, you cannot even go out. So my life, I mean, I born in a family of soccer players. I mean, I still remember the birthdays of my parents being of only national team players. So it was all about my life. It was soccer, like I knew every player. It is funny because here they say, when they talk about Cole Bassett, they say Cole Bassett know every player. You can ask everything. And I just laugh, I don't tell my story, but you cannot imagine. I knew every player, the height, the weight, left footed, like everything. Like I was addicted to soccer when I was young. And so that was my life. And I can tell you, yeah, my father played professional. He played for the national team. He played in Switzerland, Italy. And my 2 grandfathers, they play soccer too. One play for Chile. The other one play Copa America, also Copa Libertadores, sorry. But I mean, it
You
was,
knew.
imagine
You knew.
our conversations.
Yeah.
Like my mom was like, she at some point she even was talking about soccer, like doing her opinions and all this stuff. But it's since we were young, like every weekend it was games or on TV soccer. So if I can tell you how was my youth and all this stuff, it's all about soccer.
Yeah, and your brothers, did y'all get along? And I mean, was it always practice with each other, or were y'all too far apart in age? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so we have we still have it, a summer house, where my father kind of like make a field. Um, I don't know, maybe kind of like the size of an indoor,
Yep.
but it was normal grass. And over there, it was like a small town. Of course, they knew my father, they knew, and we were always like friendly. So we start knowing people over there, knowing kids, So during summer, at some point, I'm not gonna exaggerate, but we have 50, 80 like kids playing with us. And like we have like 14s, and I was 6, 7 years old, and I play with guys for like 18 years old. And like we were playing all day for 4 or 5 hours, like we couldn't like stop. So this was like my when with my brothers, like we played the whole time. And I still remember when we were alone, we have these big goals, and we play something that we call it over there goal to goal. So we have 2 touches, and we start like shooting. So you cannot save it with the hands. So you only save it with the body, and then you shoot. So you have all the time 2 touches, and we could play that for hours, Imagine my older brother was 10 years older. And I started playing with them, against them, when I was 7, 8. So it's a 10 years difference,
Yeah.
and I want to win. I mean, I never play like for lose, and they like tried to crush me. If they could win 10-0, they did it. I mean, they never were like, yeah, we're gonna let him score. No, never.
Well, that's awesome. I know before we started, I told you I think I played against your brother, or one of your brothers at Católica. Tell us a little bit. Your story is very interesting in that you started there, and then you go to the rival. Tell us, growing up. I'm really curious as to how people accepted that. Where you're from.
Yeah, so I started in Universidad Católica because it was very close from my house, and they have this thing that they train in the afternoon, so I could go like to my school and have like normal life. Uh, but I was always a fan of Colo Colo, and I love Colo Colo. You cannot imagine how it was like. I will cry and cry for them. So at some point, I told my father I want to leave, you know, and they were like, yeah, but you cannot leave. I was 13 years old, and they said like, no, you cannot leave. Like you're kind of like I had one of the best season over there, but I was 12. Like it didn't make a reason. We say to my father, I'm young, I'm 12 years old, I should do whatever I want at that age, and they were like, no, you can't. So we fight for a year with this team until we make like I don't know, fake deal, like I don't know what they did. And then I moved to Colo Colo, and then everything started, like I start playing there in under 15, 16. And then at 17, I did a decision about moving to kind of like this online schools, but it wasn't online school. They call it athlete school, where
Okay.
you decide if you go in the afternoons or in the mornings. So I decided with my father, like, I want to be a soccer player, and he was like, are you sure? Like, if you do it this, like you have to be like 100% do whatever it takes to do it. And I said like, let's do it, So I moved to these athletes, and then I started training in the mornings with the older categories, because normally in this club, in Colo Colo and in Universidad de Chile, not Católica, a lot, when you are 15 and you are good, they move you. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126 Like you play
Okay.
with the under 20, you know, like you go straight. They don't wait for that. Like they just they just want you to play, you know, in a higher level. That's how they show you like if you're good or not. So I just moved, and it wasn't an easy decision because I have a lot of pressure, you know, like because my two other brothers were at that point were professional, but going to the school. So
Yeah.
my mom was terrified, like you have to do it, you have to be professional, or I don't know what you're gonna do, you know, kind of, because you're still like finishing school and all this, but it's different. It's different. So I made it, so that was good.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. You know, I always ask forwards. You know, as a defender, it's easy for me to remember all the goals I scored and which ones meant a lot. But um, where I know I saw a thing where you scored against uh, Católica when you played for Colo Colo. Was that one of the bigger goals for you, or were you more indifferent because you like both clubs?
You know, I have a thing that I don't care against who I score. I just care about more the moment. And I think if you're asking me what is more important, I mean that goal was important because it was in a playoff. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it didn't make a difference because they score after and they eliminated us. But
Okay.
if you ask me like about important goals, I think the goal against Salt Lake in the playoff is the most important goal that I score.
Okay.
So it's not about against, it's more about like
What
the
happens?
moment and what happened after. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I was going to ask about Santos. I mean, I don't think we've had anyone on the podcast that's played in Libertadores. You know, and I know you're not going to like the result, but you lose to the champions. You could make a case. I make a case every year that the Libertadores winner is probably the best team in the world. Um, you know, how do you feel like I have a piece of paper. I had to print it out because it was too long of the different leagues and different things you've played in. I'll get to that in a little bit. But for me, I know you've played in UEFA. You played for your national team, which is a really big deal. But for me, Libertadores is it's up there in terms of highest quality of soccer in the world.
It's different. I mean, playing. I think I didn't play Champions League, but for what they told me, like Champions League and probably Copa Libertadores has the almost not the same sensation because Champions is what every South American player wants to play, you know. But when you play Copa Libertadores, is something else too, you know. And especially, yeah, like you say, my first professional goal I scored against Santos, and it was Neymar and another couple, you know, guys like important guys over there. So it was, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, and I have a good story if you want to hear over there.
Oh, that's what
so
we're here for.
so the coach that he was supposed to send the list to the Copa Libertadores list about for players, he got fired the last day of that. So an intern coach from Colo Colo took it that day, and I wasn't in the list at all. And this intern coach from the academy, he took it and he switched the list and he put me in. So after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they signed another coach, an Argentinian coach, and I was playing like for the under 20, you know, like sweetness, like how to say, mixing with the first team a couple, and he wasn't like calling me at all. But at some point, they had this the game against Santos, and the two forwards, we were four forwards. The two of them they were injured. So they say like, who is the next in the list? Diego. Okay, let's call him because he's in the list. Kind of like we have to call him. So I say like, okay, let's do it. I never thought that I'm gonna play, and we were losing 3-0, you know. I came in, we start no 3-1, and I came in and I scored the 3-2, and I actually like I scored the goal, and I was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, my first goal scoring Copa Libertadores at 17 years old. I was like in another planet, you know, and then I keep playing. So I still think that coach in academy, I still talk to him because you always need something like that. I think in soccer, you always need someone to trust, to have faith on you, and that guy had has the most faith in the world, on me. And that's, I mean, I'm thinking that's why I'm here right now, for him.
Well, no, that's incredible. And you had a ton of success with Colo Colo. Tell me about the deal to go to Portugal. I mean, it's one of the top 3 clubs in Portugal. Were you hope, I think I saw you were looking at the Serie A, maybe Udinese, or there was a lot of talk of where you could end up. But tell me what it's like to go from, like you said, everyone wants to go and play in South America. They want to go play in Champions League or play in Europe. You got to do that. Tell me what that was like.
Yeah, so to be real, I wasn't sure about going over there to Europe. I wanted to go, but I everything with me like was so fast over there. It was 2 months. I couldn't even go out with my friends. Like you want to celebrate with your friends. I couldn't. Like we were every day, and as soon as we hit like the holidays, vacation, they called me for the national team. At that point, like for the pre-selection to the Copa America. So I didn't even have time to celebrate with my family. So everything was so fast that I was thinking like, what if I stay, a couple months more, a couple years, here. So the big thing, it was like I started scoring goals. I scored 6 goals or 5, and I didn't have a contract. I was free agent, just playing because I was in the academy. So at that point, like a free agent, he scored 3 goals in Copa Libertadores, 17 years old. They were calling me all over like Europe, like giving me offers here and there. And I was like, I told my father, look, I want to sign with the team with a release clause, at least, so I can leave the money, so I can show you, like, I can show them like how much I love them, and like how thankful I am for them to like to show me to the world. So I signed with them. At the moment that I signed with them, I have this thing with the Sporting Lisbon. And to be real, they were the last ones to come to me. I mean, they were a couple of the ones, but they want me free. They want me free. And I say like, no, I'm gonna, so any team that comes has to pay this release clause to them. And then I go. And they were like, yeah, whatever. And that was one of the things. And the other one was Sporting Lisbon, Sporting Portugal is known by have one of the best academies in the world. So I say, if I go there, I just turned 18 years old. I say like, I'm gonna turn an amazing player. I have so many things to learn. I like still now I need to learn a lot of things. But at that age, I say like, I want to learn. I want them to teach me. But yeah, when I went there, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was different.
And what do you mean when you say it wasn't? You just didn't like you didn't feel it was a good fit, or
No, the thing with Sporting Portugal is that they have a lot of pressure. They had a lot of pressure because they're a big team. They have a big fan base, and they pressure them to be champions. And then you have 2 teams like Benfica and Porto that they invest so much money. They have so many good players from South America, from everywhere. So it's like it's more about, we had the players, we have everything, and sometimes it's more about yourself, but I'm telling you, I was 18 years old. I want everybody to come to me and kind of like show me almost how to play, and like show me what to do and be with me all day. But when I came there, it was like, no, you need to show it. And they give me 1 game, you didn't show in the game, and bye. We put the other one. So my competition was national team player of Portugal, Postiga, Ricky van Boswinkel. They bought it for 10 million. And then they have Valery Bojinov, who is a player that played for Manchester City, for Parma. So that was my competition for 18 years old, that play only 15 games in a first division in Chile. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. But at some point, like you need some advice, some help, And to be real, I didn't feel that at all. Also, I feel it sometimes, but it's more about you. And I think I didn't have the material to go there and find everything what I needed to succeed. So okay. I always blame on me, but I realized a little bit too late, maybe.
Yeah, that's still a lot of pressure.
Yes.
I don't have any experience there, Diego. So I'd love to give. I know you're a big motivational guy, and you find motivation through the great athletes. I've seen your social media and stuff, but I don't have anything for you on on this one. I've never been in that situation. I wish I had that opportunity, but um, you know, I know you talked. It was a little bit hard, and you didn't get as much of an opportunity as you'd like. Um, your path is really interesting, though. You end up getting loaned out to, um, the places you've been. And I don't know how long you lived there, but I mean, the places you've been are pretty pretty different. You get loaned out to Romania. You
Mhm.
get loaned out to Finland. Talk to me a little bit about, I think it's funny, right? Because in the U.S., it's like, you play at Kansas City, you get loaned to Swope, or you play in Houston, you get loaned just a couple hours south. Like you're
Yeah.
not only going to a different country. I mean, it's like a whole new culture, a whole new language. Talk to me a little bit about what goes through your head when you're a young guy and you've moved halfway across the world, and then they say, oh, by the way, now you're going to go to another country, and it's nothing like where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, that point when I moved to Romania, it was a little bit difficult because that that summer over there, we have the World Cup with the national team, and I couldn't make it because I have a hip injury. So I was like 3 months out. So when I came back, when I was healthy in sporting, they told me like you need to leave. New president. It was the third president in 2 years in Portugal. They came to me and said like you cannot stay, like you need to leave, you need to leave, you need to leave. So I was recovering after 3 months without training. I mean, every team, every coach asked me like, how are you? Like, no, I still have two weeks until I can train normal. And we were in the middle of the preseason or maybe at the end of the preseason. So it was very difficult time for me. And this team qualified for the Europa League. They eliminate Sporting Braga, and they came and they say, we want you as a striker. And I was like, amazing. Yeah. I mean, I don't care where to play. I need to play. I need someone to want me. So I said, like, let's do it. Europa League is very attractive, or even if like in the group, you're going to play 6 games. So it doesn't matter where you go. So I say, like, I accepted and I went over there. The thing is, that the first game of Europa League, they put me out and they say, like, hey, you cannot play. And I said, like, wait, what? Why? They said, we were too late for the, how to say, inscription.
Transfer, just
Yeah,
didn't get
so
the paperwork in.
you are not in the list of the Europa League for the entire year. And like my world like start like to be a mess. Like I was like, why they're gonna put me now to play in the league if they need all the players to play for the Europa League and all this stuff. After 3 weeks, I got injury in my knee, and I don't know, it was a mess. It was 4 or 5 months. And then, well, then I moved to, well, not Finland. I moved to Norway. I play in Norway.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I meant
no,
Norway.
no. But yeah, I moved to Norway, and then it was my first season that I play an entire season in Europe. So that helped me a lot in terms of like, I didn't score. I mean, I scored 8 goals, I think, in 24, 25 games. But it helps me like to show me like that I can play, in Europe and all this stuff. So after that, I moved again to Sporting. I came back from the loans, and they asked me to stay there, and that's when I had a very good season in the second team, that is second division in Portugal, where like I score a lot of goals over there.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, when you go to these other countries, I mean, do you feel like you got immersed in the culture, or was it just kind of you put your head down, you go to practice, you go home? I know in maybe Romania it wasn't a lot of fun, but maybe in Norway you had a little more time to, you're there longer with a better, soccer players, they need to play.
Yeah.
So if you're not playing, your life isn't always great, but maybe, tell me a little bit about being on the road and trying to figure yourself out.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I was married at that point, and I moved to Romania with my wife. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It was a very, very small city, like I still remember when I was looking for the distance between Bucharest and this Targuiu, that was the city. It was like, well, in miles, I don't know, but 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers. In Portugal, in 300 kilometers, you do it in 2 hours, two and a half hours at the most. Over there, 300 kilometers, that is, I don't know, 150 miles, 7 hours. And I was like, where I am, like the highways. I mean, you need to stop because the highways, it was like chickens going around, like cows, like everything. Like I said, like where I am, like I moved to another world. It was insane, And I mean, I like it. It was all new for me, but it was kind of like crazy, a new country. It was all new for me, the city. I went to the like I kind of like I live very far from the stadium, far, and I was walking every day to training, 10 minutes walking. So that was our city, imagine, like crazy. And then I moved to Norway, where you go from here to like Norway is almost like the most expensive country in the world, So it was a big jump, and I was like, but at the end of the day, I think I was talking to another person the other day. That made me be the person that I am today. That I respect every culture, that I respect every person, that I respect every plate of food, that I respect like everything, because at the end of the day, we are not different, It's like, it's just we are living in different countries, but people is not different. It's all the same.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think people that travel, they have the same thoughts that you do, where you see where someone's from. And I say that's the great equalizer, right? It's that you meet someone from some other place, and now you have a connection where you put a face with a country and a people. And you've had some good ones. So you talked about going back to Portugal. At this point, I know you were in the 20s, and you were also with the 23s. Were you traveling during that, getting called in, or how were you representing the youth at that, or were you beyond that at that point?
No, at that point, I mean, we don't have 23s over there in Chile, so I was the last time, it was 2013 where I get called. We qualified for the World Cup. I played that, but I didn't play the World Cup, and then I didn't get called out until, well, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. So I almost moved to Braga, Sporting Braga. They wanted me to like like I was still young at that point. I scored a lot of goals in the second division. So they wanted me to like as a prospect still. And I was so excited. And at the last moment, it canceled. And then we have this chance to go to Valladolid. And I was like, yes, I want to do it. At that point, it was second division, but second division in Spain is amazing. You know how many good players over there. And the main thing is like my wife family lives in Valladolid a lot. The other part lives in Sevilla, but main part of the family lives in Valladolid. So I was like, let's do it, like why not? So we moved over there. It wasn't I mean, good experience, amazing players. I didn't did well at all. I am honest. I have a couple games. I mean, probably I start 3, 4 games. They give me the chance. I didn't score. That over there the striker has to score. It doesn't matter. I give assist and I play kind of like okay, but I didn't score. So that's how they measure you over there. And
Yeah.
if you score, you don't score. So I didn't score, and then, well, at the middle of the tournament, they decided that they told me you can stay because they actually like me. Actually, after a year and a half, during winter here, vacations, that coach called me because he was in India, and he called me and said like, hey, can you come to our team to help our team like for 2 months? And I was like, nah, I'm vacation. I was actually recovering from a little injury in my knee, but so that coach told me like, you can stay and fight for a place or you can leave, and I said like, I'm good here, so I will stay to fight until Sporting Kansas City came to me, and I said like, yeah, I want to go there.
Okay, before we go to MLS, a lot of talk around the world is what's the best league. Do you think? I mean, I know I've met a ton of guys that have played in different divisions, and everyone seems to say Spain is the best in terms of technicality. And do you agree with that?
I watch first division and I saw that it's very difficult. And like you say, I have a couple guys telling me that it's insane. I play in second division, and if second division is like that, I cannot imagine how first division is. I mean, you don't have time.
Yeah.
You don't have time. I mean, some teams maybe they will wait for you a little bit more, but after the half, it's like you don't have space, you don't have time. It's crazy. So when you guys see Barcelona, what they do is insane. It's insane because like I'm telling you, you don't have time to think. Like you need to play so fast. Those players are so fast. They're so good. They're so smart that, I mean, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
No, I was curious. I mean, I know it's a whole nother level. I don't think we as Americans quite grasp it yet, but we're getting better at that. Talk to me a little bit about MLS. Like what appealed to you on that? How did that go? Do you think it was a good transition for you? Or, were you excited? What were your emotions like?
Yeah, so they offered me to come here, and I was like waiting. My wife was waiting for the twins, and I was like, I'm gonna have big family, and I was like, I just want to go there. I know that it was growing up at that point, like better players, they were coming to here, and I say like, I don't know, I want to be part of that transition. I mean, first of all, I came on loan, and I was like, okay, I want to show that I was able to play here. Uh, I mean, never I thought that I was coming here to a easy league. I never take it like that, because a lot of people say, no, MLS or from over there is easy. No, it's not easy. It's very physical and all the stuff. So I saw a couple of games and I said like, I want to go there. I think I can. I hope I can do well. And it was very interesting, especially like the team. Kansas City, when you see the video and everything on like from them, like fans and all the stuff, is like, wow, this is good, and I want to try. I want to try and how I could do it here. So that was my first thought when I came here.
Awesome. I do. It's funny. I'm old enough. This Kansas City here. I say, you're old when they don't have the names on the. They just have the names. They don't have the sponsors anymore. But Kansas City became this wonderful club, and we used to play at Arrowhead, which is, I know you're a Chiefs fan. I'm from Tampa, so I apologize for the Super Bowl. But they played in the football stadium, and then they played in a baseball stadium, and then they get this beautiful stadium in Blue Hell, and it's an incredible place to play. I could see how anybody would want to go there. I'm always fascinated with Peter Vermes. I think for how long he's been around. Some guys have great things to say about him. I haven't met too many people that have anything bad to say, but I know that I always give guys an opportunity to talk about their time somewhere. Talk to me a little bit about playing for Peter, just because he is the longest tenured coach. He's probably, other than Bill Belichick, I think he's the longest tenured coach in American sports, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I will always say, and I always say this, and I think he created an amazing team, and not only about soccer. I think about everything what involves the team. Everybody who's in there is like so, how to say, so into the team.
Family.
They want to work there. They want to be there. Like anybody that you talk, you will never hear that, oh, I want to leave, or I'm waiting for another offer. No, like every worker over there is so happy to be there, and that's actually very positive, out of them. As a team, yeah, I mean, I will not tell that. I mean, you can like a coach, you cannot like a coach, but at the end of the day, it's results, and results can tell you how good or how bad is a coach. And he had very good results with the team. He's been champion, like so. It doesn't matter what everybody else says. He had good results during these 10 years. So that's all what I can say. It doesn't matter if I have
Yeah.
a bad relation with him, if I didn't like him at all, if I like him. At the end of the day, it's based on results, and they had good results. They have a very good team, and he created a very good team over there.
Yeah, and it seemed, like I said, I've seen a lot of your posts where it was kind of I call Kansas City a family or a culture. It's a culture thing where they do so much together. You have, I know, I think Beasler did the jersey. You wear jerseys in, and it's just it seemed like a fun locker room. Um, talk to me a little bit about. Obviously, forgot to mention you won an Open Cup there, so you talked about Peter winning. You were part of, you won some hardware. Then you end up going to Colorado. Talk to me a little bit about the change at this point. You have a pretty large family. Your family's growing. How do you feel about going there? And this is essentially where you are now. I know you've had some coaching changes, but talk to me a little bit about Colorado and what you like, what's a little bit different than Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the change. I mean, I finished that year with Kansas City 2018, and like for me, it's all about playing. It doesn't matter if I'm gonna go 30, 10, 5, but I want to be there every game because I think I can do it, you know. And that year I was supposed to be like the super sub. I scored 10 goals in like 800 minutes or 700 minutes. And I was like, I want to play every game. It doesn't matter if I start or I don't start, but I want to play, even if it's 5 minutes. You know, I will be the happiest guy if you put me 2 minutes or 5 minutes. It doesn't matter for me, but I want to play. You know, because I wanna be important. So I actually have a conversation with him, and where I say like I wanna know where my future is gonna be. You know, like I have kids, I have family, and I cannot wait until the end of the year with these options. You know, option years, like waiting until December where I'm gonna be. So that was all the conversation that we had at the end of the year. Like I wanna where my future is gonna be. Well, 2 weeks later they trade me to they trade me to Colorado, and I could find like something that I like it here. I mean, that they like me, I like them, I like the city, you know, and I want to create something special here. I want to be someone, you know. I always tell them that is kind of easier, you know. I mean, over there, you know that they have like a lot of legends. Here they have legends, but the last couple of years we all know that we didn't do, you know, a lot. Like this is the first time in 4 years that we qualified to playoff. So I wanna be in the story of Rapids. You know, I wanna be, if I could do it, you know, be the top scorer ever, or take them to something very important. So I didn't come here just to be like how to say in a comfort
Com-
zone.
yeah,
Comfort
comfortable.
zone. You know, I don't. I just don't. I don't come here to have 4 or 5 years contract. I come here to win, and that's
Yeah.
all that I want. Win, win, and win.
Well, yeah, I mean, you made me look like a genius. I called a game. I do some commentating occasionally, and you played Houston, and I said you were going to be my game changer, and I think you had like either a goal and an assist. But I mean, it's just, I look for guys that I think they move well. They have good ideas every time they get the ball. And I'm always amazed. I'm not a coach. I don't pretend to be a coach. I don't like to talk bad about coaches. I told you before we started, I love Robin. I'm a little biased. We went to the same college. But I just always am more, I wonder what happens in training, or what they see, because from a distance, if it just looks like you're the best player on the team, the best player on the field when you have a good day. So it's fascinating that, I think you're a star waiting to happen. But you got to, like you said, sometimes you have to get the opportunity. You know, it sounds like you're still waiting to, still waiting and earning that opportunity in Colorado. I think you guys are on the right foot, though. It's a little long-winded. I know you had different coaches there, and it's still a different culture now. It's changing, and you're a part of that. But tell me what you think for this season. What's the goal? MLS Cup, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go step by step. I think that's the main thing. But we all know that the MLS is all about how consistent you are, your team, your group. How much your group wants to win that. So I think we have a great group. I mean, we have a couple auditions, and I think it's very strong. A lot of young kids that at the end of the day, Kansas City, you call it a young group 9-10 years ago, and they win a lot of stuff. So this is what we want to be, like a young group that start like this, that nobody knows us, we don't have like a freaking star, but we all are so like into being playoff, into win every game, into do whatever the coach tell us to do, that we want to get there. And I think this is a year where a lot of players in this team needs to prove a lot. And that we need to prove. We want to prove. We want to prove to the fans, to the MLS, that we can be there, and that we didn't qualify last year for playoff just with lucky. We want to be there because we actually deserve it.
I agree. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I think I told you you're the first. I call it English isn't your first language. How many languages do you speak, by the way, having been all over the world?
No, I mean, I can speak English and Spanish. I understand Portuguese like 100%. I don't have the accent. I mean, I went to a German school, but I almost like forget everything. Maybe I will need an entire year, to learn to start speaking.
And do you have a German passport? I saw. Yeah. What's the story there? Grandfather or?
Yeah, no, grandfather came from Germany. Yeah, so
awesome.
From my
that's
mom.
Cool. And then I saw you recently got your green card, or not recently, but was that exciting for you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have it, to be more like here with the family, where we can come like easily to enter the country.
See that, and then you like football. You're going to basketball games. You're embracing it, right?
Yeah,
talk to me a little bit. The league has gotten very Latin. It's a gateway from South America, Central America. As a Latin player, do you feel like it's a brotherhood? When you see guys from, I'll give you an example. Like me, my favorite player in DC was Lucho Acosta, right? I felt like he was my brother from almost, like a son / brother. But he's so like, the Argentinians are so wired, they're so angry all the time that it was like, hey, that should be your friend. And he's like, oh, I hate that guy. He played at River or something. I know Chile is not Argentina, but do you, when you see guys from other teams, do you feel like it's you guys have a camaraderie or a brotherhood that connects you that maybe other players don't have?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. Like you say, if you're in South America, you barely talks to another guy in other teams. It's like this thing about like, no, you kind of like, you need to hate them. You need to hate the other guy. And if they playing, you're like, the classic. Now you cannot even talk to them. Like you cannot even laugh. It's like that, So here is different because we have this union, the MLSPA, and all this stuff that you actually need to talk to each other, to have more relations. And it's kind of weird because you talk, and then it's like you go to the games, like, hey, yeah, I know you, I talk to you and all this stuff. But after it's still this stuff like, hey, you play for the other team, I play for this team. And I mean, we still have like this bad conversation inside the field, during we're playing. that is in our blood, you know, like we cannot control it. I can control it myself, you know. So I guess that other guys no, like, but after the game is, I think you get used to be more relaxed, you know, like to go in there and then say hello to the guys, to the boys. I will tell that a brotherhood, nah, not that much, you know, because we still have this like, uh, you know, I want to win,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to kill you, you know, in the game,
Well,
you know, kind of
well,
like that.
I was gonna say, I look, I got a lot of cards when I played, and I saw one year you had 10 yellow cards. So I was saying that, you're saying you're happy, but maybe when you play, you're not so happy. You know, you get out there and you're not, not a lot of red cards, but the yellow cards was a lot. And I was thinking, if I'm a defender and you're getting yellow cards, I'm completely happy with you. That means you're trying hard.
Yeah. I mean, I switch. I get so mad with referees. I actually, I need to switch. I need to change that a little bit. I get mad with them a lot, but it's especially more about talking than making fouls. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not about talks.
Well, I'll ask you one last question, kind of a hard question, kind of a weird question. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine. Or if you don't know how to, it's interesting to me though. I follow a lot of, I played college in Miami, so I've been around Latin players and Latin journalists. I follow a lot of the Latin community. My coaches growing up were all foreign. Um, I'm curious, you have kids now, and, assuming you have a long, healthy career here in MLS, I assume your kids, if they follow in your footsteps and their grandfather's footsteps and their great-great-grandfather's footsteps, as a guy that's been all over the world, played in South America, how do you feel about the U.S. in terms of coaching, and what do you see? Because we're in a really tough spot right now. We didn't qualify for the Olympics. People act like we should just beat Honduras and beat Costa Rica, and we're not beating these teams, and we're not. It's consistently happening now. As someone that's got his green card now, and obviously your allegiance is still to your home country, but what do you see as an outsider that's kind of become an insider that needs to change here, for U.S. soccer?
What I think it has to change, and I always say, winner coaches. I mean, I'm gonna put an example that is always, I never get it why it's not like that. Teachers around the country, in the world, they should be the best pay employer in the world for me, because they are teaching, they're showing the kids how to do stuff, like this is the future. So it's the same for me in academies, for me in national teams. They have to hire the best coaches in the country. I'm not saying they're not. I don't know them at all. I know them, a couple ones. I know Peter, I know Greg, that I watch a lot of Columbus games because the way they play. I know Seattle, I know, well, Robin, but I always say you have to have the best coaches in the country in that position, because you need to teach the kids how to do it. Like you need to teach them like this how to say, these emotions that they need to have it on that games. I mean, like a lot of people say, what is the difference between Honduras and the U23? I mean, I don't even need to say, I don't need to say it. I mean, you saw it. I mean, I think everybody saw it in the game. And this is the thing that coaches, I think, need to show to the players, especially young players. Like this hungry, this. I would love to see Peter. I would love to see Oscar in a national team, in a under 23, even if it's just Oscar Pareja. I
Yeah.
would love to see him in a under 23. I would love to see him, like to show this spirit, you know. Uh, but I
No.
think it is what it is. I think you need to have the best ones. I don't know if they are. I don't know if they are not. I don't know them, so it's not my opinion. But in general, you need, for me, in academies, in U23s, in U20, in U17, you need to have the best coaches. It's not like take it like just, okay, well, I don't know. So, and then, like I say, it's the results. I mean,
Yeah.
if they qualify, nobody's going to talk anything. If they didn't qualify, it happens. Now everybody's talking about it. So
it keeps happening, and that's the part that bothers me. But it's always good. It's like if I say it, they say, "Oh, what do you know?" But if everyone is saying it, and people that aren't just American that have been around the world, if they're saying the same things, I agree. So, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I mentioned a lot that that you're on social media. I recommend everyone follow him. He posts in both English and Spanish, so you can follow. Some guys that only post in one language, it's a little harder for me to follow. But you can find you on Instagram and on Twitter. And listen, I wish you nothing but good luck this year. I've always been a fan. Hopefully I get to see you when you come to town. I'll be out there watching. But thank you again for coming on the podcast, and good luck this year.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
All right, Diego.
Okay, bye. See ya.